Before Earl Spence, when he fought Ugas, nobody said the accident. They didn't bring up the accident. He beat Canelo. They said he wasn't gonna do nothing. Canelo. He beat him every round. You had to give Canelo. You had to give him a round off of pity. Lord bless him. He did Canelo like that. William Skull ran around. Jamal Charlo made him look like he was King Kong, spreading around that ring. And Crawford got in there, who was started out at 35, and pushed him around, stood in the pocket, bullied, beat him worse than Mayweather. Mayweather still ain't even, they so jealous and hateful of Crawford. Mayweather wouldn't even come out and tell him that he got a great performance. Never would even come out and say that was just a hell of a performance. Because he's so salty because Canelo said he beat him worse because he was better than him. Mayweather didn't stand and fight Canelo, did he? Did he stand and trade with Canelo?
Not in the center of the ring, like
No, exactly. And we talking about a finished version, a polished version of Canelo. They was talking about he was revered next to Crawford, heard him, busted him up. Man won every round.
You guys heard it. That's Bernie the Boxer, one of 4 trainers Crawford has. He came out stating that the MJ of boxing, Floyd Money May, is hating on Crawford because he didn't even tell him congratulations. Now, usually, Floyd, if he's not at the fight like he was at the Errol Spence versus Crawford fight, he calls fighters all the time to show support and things like that. But by Bernie the Boxer reaction, clearly Floyd didn't call Crawford before or after the fight. Now, some people would say Floyd just wanted Crawford to have his moment. After all, would Jordan call Kobe to congratulate him? I think so, if he won another championship, right? But would Jordan call LeBron to congratulate him if he won another championship? Of course not. That's competition. Is that how Floyd looked at it? Well, Bernie the Boxer said Floyd is hating because when Crawford had his biggest moment in the fight of the decade, the biggest fight since Floyd versus Pacquiao, Crawford versus Errol Spence, it was looked at as Hagler Hearn. I mean, even old media would tell you that they were on the pound for pound list for like 8 years already. On top of all of that, they were on the top 3 pound for pound. For real, number 1 and 2. But even old media had them top 3 pound for pound. So it was for the number 1 supremacy in all sport. Mind you, 5 years before the fight, Floyd was saying the exact same things Errol Spence was saying. Floyd came out saying, look, Crawford, he's the best pound for pound fighter in the world, but he's on his side of the street. Errol Spence is on his side of the street. They're going to clean each other's side, and then they're going to fight each other at the end. But that's way later. Floyd didn't want to see the fight right away. He was so concerned and worried about Errol Spence when it came to that fight. Errol was their investment, their cash cow on PBC at welterweight. Floyd money is invested in it. He said, hell nah, we're not doing that. Floyd had to know back then about Bud's Super Saiyan abilities because at that time, a lot of people said Errol Spence gave Floyd Mayweather that loaded Lux work off guard. Floyd had to tie it up. So Errol Spence was known as a dog. He was known as the one that could be the pound for pound number 1. And Floyd was like, nah, we're not going anywhere near Crawford because he is pound for pound number 1. Floyd was saying that from the jump about Bud. It wasn't personal. It was business. Until Crawford gave Errol Spence some Super Saiyan Bud. Errol Spence got so high, his fans said Errol was high before the fight on some Jamaican Bud. But I was like, nah, that's that Super Saiyan Bud. I'm telling you. That's when Floyd Mayweather came out and shocked the world by saying exactly what the industry media said about him when he beat Pacquiao or when he beat whoever. Floyd said Errol Spence was weight drained. That's why he looked bad against Crawford. He should have been moved up to 160 or 168. I mean, skipping divisions. He didn't even say 154. So Bernie the Boxer said, you wasn't saying that before the fight. When he was breaking bones and knocked out Ugas and beat Danny Garcia like nobody dominated him before, nobody said anything like that. After the fight, now he weight drained. He this, he that. Errol Spence fans said it was the rib. Floyd said it was the weight. Errol Spence came out and said it was none of that. It was his vision. So Floyd fed into the industry media excuses, and he didn't give Crawford his credit for a well-deserved win. Crawford was willing to fight Errol Spence 5 years before the fight happened. Crawford was willing to fight Errol Spence whenever. And they the ones that chose to delay the fight. After Errol Spence came off a KO win, Errol Spence never took any tune-up. Before Crawford fought Errol Spence was on even the industry biased media pound-for-pound list, top 3. After Crawford fought him, he was an injured fighter that couldn't see, that was weight drained. I mean, you name it. Then how the hell was he top 3 pound-for-pound at that moment before he fought him? And why was that the fight of the decade? On top of all of that, they were accusing Crawford of ducking Errol Spence. So he damn if he do, damn if he don't. And that's why it was shocking coming from Floyd. The same thing they did to him, he's doing to Crawford. They were discrediting Floyd Mayweather's resume for different reasons. Now they discrediting Crawford's resume for whatever reason, saying he didn't beat anybody until he made the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, Canelo Alvarez, look like another nobody. Moving up 3 weight divisions, he played with him, took him to school, and that's another thing. Floyd even wanted to see Crawford fight Benavidez, moving up 3 weight divisions at the same time, not Canelo Alvarez. Now the $1 million question, why would Floyd Mayweather feel that way? According to Bernie the Boxer, he's hating on him because he wouldn't even congratulate him. What I say to that is, y'all know how Gervonta is always saying Floyd is jealous at him, that he's going to surpass him, blah, 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 blah. And I told you guys that can't be the case because you got to do something for him to be jealous at you. If you ain't doing nothing that's coming close to him, he ain't going to be jealous. You're not a threat, respectfully. An eagle ain't going to worry about a bird that's not flying at his altitude, right? Well, Crawford is flying on the same altitude as Floyd. He's one of the top 5 greatest fighters of all time. Last but not least, I completely disagree with Bernie the Boxer when he said Floyd didn't beat Canelo Alvarez, and sat in the pocket like Crawford did against Canelo. Man, y'all need to go back and watch that Floyd versus Canelo fight. He was whooping his ass like something you never seen. It was a movie scene. I'm talking about to the point where Floyd was backing up Canelo Alvarez, the bigger fighter, majority of the fight. It was Floyd backing him up, so you can't say Floyd wasn't fighting him toe-to-toe when Floyd backing him up. On top of that, Floyd was chest to chest with Canelo and catching him with counters in the pocket, and Canelo is the one backing up. So you can't say Floyd didn't fight Canelo toe-to-toe like Bud. Now, what you can say is that Crawford faced the bigger obstacle in terms of not just being polished, but more so the weight. Floyd moved up to his 5th weight class to fight Canelo Alvarez. Crawford moved up to his 6th weight class, and he had to jump 3 divisions pretty much one time because he only had one fight at 154. That was the bigger obstacle. But one obstacle they did share, or multiple that they did share, was the biased commentary, the fans booing him. On top of all of that, the judges were about to rob them. Y'all know Floyd had a draw against Canelo on one of the judges' scorecards, so y'all know this is real. In one of the most dominated fights in history in boxing, right? All I know is Floyd beat him orthodox, Crawford beat him southpaw, different ways, same as beaten. Canelo was throwing combos against Floyd, but against Crawford, guess what was happening? Canelo was moving his head in combos, avoiding Crawford counters because he didn't want none of that shit. which now that's hella impressive because this is Crawford's 6th weight class. So for him to have power in that weight after moving up all these weight divisions one time is crazy. Now, what was impressive with Floyd's performance, contrary to what Bernie wants you to believe, Floyd will even bait Canelo to come to him. Canelo will throw 7 punches combo. Floyd will block all of them and counter him with 3-4 shots and circle him. Rinse and repeat, then apply pressure on him, whoop him that way, whooping him every kind of way. Floyd was so comfortable. Like I told you guys before, Bernie was saying Floyd didn't go toe-to-toe with Canelo. Well, Floyd didn't just go toe-to-toe with Canelo in the middle of the ring like Crawford did. Floyd went toe-to-toe with Canelo on his back against the rope, something you're not supposed to do. The industry media is saying, man, Canelo should have threw combos against Crawford. Well, he threw them against Floyd, and that got him whooped. He didn't want to make that same mistake against Crawford and go to sleep the way he respected Crawford's power. That's really the reason why. Now, after Floyd said all that, Crawford beats Canelo. What, is Canelo weight drained? It's Crawford who moved up all these weight divisions, and Canelo said he was in the best shape of his life, mentally and physically. This is his best version yet. No more excuses. He was trying to beat Bud and say, see, this version of me could beat Floyd. That was his goal. And guess what happened? Crawford smoked Canelo. But Bernie the Boxer said, you can't even say congratulations. I even won money off of you. That's the least thing you can say. That's why Crawford trainer Bernie the Boxer believes Floyd is hating on Crawford. You know, it's so funny because it was a time when Floyd came around, people were saying, well, he's not as talented as Roy. Roy Jones was the most gifted fighter of all time to the naked eye. I mean, who can beat him in his prime? Well, Floyd brought another element to the table, which is technique with skill and obviously the talent like Roy. And then they were saying that he's not like Sugar Ray. How dare you? Larry used to say that along with Jimmy and all that. But George Foreman was like, man, this kid, man, he looked like he's the next Sugar Ray. Ironically, Floyd ended up even, you can say, surpassing Sugar Ray. They on the same boat, though. Don't get offended. And now Crawford, you know, it's funny because I remember the time when they were comparing Crawford to Floyd, and they were like, nah, he's not as fluid, this, that, and the third, until you guys see how Crawford do when he goes Super Saiyan. Beat the shit out of Canelo like he stole some too. History continues. The question is now, who is the next Super Saiyan? Is it Shakur? Is it Carmel Moten? Is it Abdullah Mason? Who is it? Can Keyshawn fulfill his potential? Can Devin Haney reclaim his position? Will Jaron Ennis fulfill his potential and be the next, not Crawford, but the next Boots? Well, only time will tell. But we do know the history, though. We know what happened before. And that's anything before Crawford whooped Canelo along with that. No more rewriting history. No more erasing losses on fighters' record to put him higher on the pound-for-pound list. No more skipping Bud on the pound-for-pound list. Give the king his crown. As far as Crawford trainer discrediting Floyd when he fought Canelo, let's not fix wrong with wrong. You can't fix a wrong with the wrong. Floyd discredited Crawford, or he didn't show him love and, you know, followed the industry media move, even though they did the same to him. But you can't correct wrong with wrong. You can correct wrong by doing right, though. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Forget about all that. Who wins? Prime for prime. Crawford versus Floyd, Money May, or Pretty Boy Floyd. Whichever you think is the best version. I believe it was Pretty Boy. Crawford said Money May was better because he made less mistakes and he was moving less because he mastered his art. And I think that's true to a certain extent, but I also believe Floyd was so good in his prime, he was beating fighters off his bullshit gear let alone his first gear. When he fought Corrales, then he went on his P's and Q's. He wasn't making mistakes. The only mistake he made, he rushed in to finish Corrales before Corrales was ready to go. Floyd was a finisher at 130 pounds. Matter of fact, he was like Crawford with his power at 130 pounds. And he was also sharp with his defense just as much as he was when he was Money May, if he put his mind to it. Only for certain, the winner would have had been a Super Saiyan. The question is, which one? Subscribe below and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Add something to his legacy. Like, give him like that.
He ain't nobody. He just beat the biggest man he could beat, man. He just beat the biggest man he could beat. I hope he retired. There's nothing else out there for Crawford to do. Nothing. Crawford did everything. These guys that you name had opportunities to fight Crawford and wouldn't fight Crawford. The guys that he didn't fight found every reason not to fight Crawford. This is out of their own mouth. They never said, the welterweights never said, man, I want to fight him, but Al making me not fight him, or this and this and that. They did say the other side of the street, but they never said, I really want to fight Crawford. Danny Garcia said he ain't popular enough. Mike Garcia said he gonna run. Keith Thurman said the WBO don't matter. Sean Porter stayed quiet until he couldn't stay quiet. And Errol Spence ran until he couldn't run no more. Come on now.